Hello everyone, we are Karen, Mo, and Zhao Zhao. We'd like to introduce you to our e-learning module, Business Model Canvas, an introduction to entrepreneurship. Why is Business Model Canvas important? Business Model Canvas is an efficient tool to help entrepreneurs evaluate their ideas and resources and provide guidance to develop a feasible idea to business. We start our module design with learning goals. We have 5 learning goals in our module. These are our goals specified in the ABCD format. In our module, we have 7 knowledge components in total. Here is an overview showing how our cases, instruction, and assessment aligning with the goals. This is a specific example of the alignment. The goal is to define, build, and evaluate the value proposition, which is associated with 2 cases, value proposition principles and elements. This is the instruction for the principle part, and this is the element part. They are followed by a worked example of evaluation. The assessment is to test learners' application of principles and elements to evaluate the value proposition. Then we move on to CTA. We did think aloud feedback on our initial pre-assessment questions. Then we used the insight derived from think aloud feedback as a guide to revise the summative assessment. We interviewed Professor Engler for empirical CTA. There are 2 important findings. One is that we find a missing case in our initial design plan, which is the need evaluation. The other one is that we need to do need validation before value proposition, which determines the order of our instruction design. We have 2 major tasks in our module. One is to identify target customer segment, and the other is to create value proposition. We use both theoretical and empirical CTA to help develop procedures to complete a task in our module. For each task, we first refer to some online courses, books, and articles to design our original procedure based on the theoretical CTA, then created a procedure map. Next, we revised the procedure based on the empirical CTA with Professor Engler. The highlights in red are the changes we made. We then used the revised procedure to guide design our instruction. For the instruction design, there are mainly 3 principles: multimedia, worked example, and practice with feedback. For the multimedia, relevant images and video scaffolding are used to improve learning based on the dual-channel principle. We use representative graphics for concrete facts, concepts, and organizational graphics to show relationships. To foster better and faster learning, we walk learners through the steps to fill the BMC based on the low-cost airline case. We also provide learners with formative assessments to promote better learning. During the practice in the instructional activity, learners can get help through the hint button and compare the answers with the correct ones. For A/B testing, we choose the format of media content as our variable. The reason for our choice is our intuition feels that the video thoroughly describes the content with audio and animation. Yet our rationale tells us that the video has so much new information, while text and images could help the learner go on their own pace. Since we are not sure of its benefits on students' learning, we would like to test its effect. We set 2 conditions which varies in the format of media content of BMC: video scaffolding for condition A, and image plus text for condition B. In each condition, we flip the pre- and post-assessment to examine whether there is a difference in the difficulty of pre- and post-assessment. Here is the video made by professionals from Strategizer.
This is the business model canvas. It's just what Beth and Carl will need to craft a powerful business model, and it can do the same for you. Let's dive in and see how it works. There are 9 essential building blocks that make up any business model. When you get all 9 blocks working together, you'll have answered the fundamental questions any business model must solve. We'll start here with customer segments. These are all the people or organizations for which you're creating value. For each segment, you have a specific value proposition. These are the bundles of products and services that create value for your customers. Channels describe through which.
Then we move to our results. Looking at our results, we were able to recruit 18 participants who fully completed our module. However, the testing wasn't fully randomized as learners were all friends and family members. 15 of the learners filled an optional feedback survey indicating their prior knowledge level of entrepreneurship, their overall rating of the module, their likes and areas of improvement. The following are some of the feedback we got from our learners. Synthesizing all the feedback, we captured the most frequent comments. Learners liked the structure, relevant examples, and video, and they would like us to improve through providing more examples and guidance to using the platform or how to engage with the module. Looking at our assessment questions, we were able to identify individual questions that are confusing, where most participants answered them wrong, favoring one of the wrong choices. On the other hand, we also saw some good questions that clearly showed learning. Most learners answered wrong in the pre-assessment, while choose the correct answer in the post. Exploring another angle of our data, we used the data shop to map the learning curves of our cases. Most of them showed learning, but with some variations due to the varying number of questions and difficulty in each case. For example, the graph to the left shows learning in the value proposition, but with a high error rate, which might indicate difficulty of the concept. Regarding our A/B test, on average, the gains from each group were relatively close. It is worth mentioning that results indicated that our post-assessment is more difficult than our pre-assessment. Yet more than 85% of the learners showed gains regardless if they had a pre- or post-assessment first. Finally, going forward, we plan to iterate based on what we learn from the data and from our learners by providing better questions, add more examples, make it more interactive, and provide narration and guidance to the platform. Thank you all for listening, and special thanks to Professor Engler and Kim for their continuous support throughout the development of the module.